o simplemente copiarla con el botón copiar.
Saludos y bienvenidos con este OBS Studio. De manera voy a así RTM Windows y compatible literalmente. Exactamente le den a OBS hacer aquí nosotros lo que va a salir esta pestaña aquí solamente. Entonces, el nuevo destino vamos a ponerle aquí YouTube. Se cargue todo lo que se tenga que cargar aquí en YouTube. Lo que vamos a hacer es que vamos a copiar aquí el U. Vamos a copiar la clave. Vamos a copiar nuestra clave. Vamos a buscar el URL de Twitch. Yo le tengo aquí también, de igual manera como le dije ahorita. Ustedes estén ubicados. Ese es el default. Tú copias este, lo copias hasta aquí y lo pegas literalmente aquí, este URL.
Jacques Vallée, astrónomo, informático, autor de bestsellers, pionero de Internet e investigador de ovnis de renombre mundial.
Creo que es el pensador más importante que ha tenido la ufología.
Jacques Vallée fue uno de los primeros en sugerir que el fenómeno ovni se remonta a miles de años atrás.
Jacques Vallée planteó la siguiente pregunta. ¿Son estas historias antiguas idénticas a los fenómenos ovnis modernos?
Y sus audaces teorías se atrevieron a desafiar no solo nuestras nociones de vida extraterrestre, sino del universo mismo.
Hay muy pocos conceptos que sean recurrentes en todas las partes de la civilización humana. Los ovnis son, y lo han sido desde siempre. Esto es real y es importante.
Existe un portal en el universo, más allá del cual yace la promesa de la verdad. Nos exige cuestionarnos todo lo que nos han enseñado. La evidencia nos rodea. El futuro está justo frente a nuestros ojos. No estamos solos. Nunca lo hemos estado. En 1952, el gobierno de Estados Unidos puso en marcha su primera gran investigación sobre el fenómeno ovni, denominada Proyecto Libro Azul. Más de 5 décadas después, en 2007, el gobierno inició su segundo proyecto llamado Programa de Identificación de Amenazas Aeroespaciales Avanzadas, o ATIA. Solo hay un hombre que fue un contribuyente clave en ambos casos, y sigue estando a la vanguardia de la investigación ovni hasta el día de hoy. El doctor Jacques Vallée.
No conozco a nadie como Jacques Vallée en el campo de los ovnis. Aporta conocimientos científicos, inteligencia artificial, experiencia en ingeniería informática y una curiosidad insaciable.
Es licenciado en matemáticas y astrofísica, y un doctorado en ciencias de la informática. Sus ideas han tenido un impacto tan tremendo en la ufología como tema serio que ha validado su estudio entre los académicos.
Jacques Vallée es, en mi opinión, no solo el mayor pensador, sino el mejor escritor que ha abordado el misterio ovni. Es autor de varios libros fundamentales, de gran influencia en este campo, y ha contribuido a ampliar lo que pensamos sobre el mundo ovni.
Fue una de las primeras personas en plantear la pregunta: ¿es posible que estas historias antiguas sean idénticas a lo que observamos en los fenómenos ovni modernos?
Sinceramente, creo que si lees sobre los investigadores de ovnis, verás que Jacques Vallée es el más brillante de todos.
La gente todavía me pregunta, ¿usted cree en los ovnis? Bueno, no deberían preguntarse si quieren ser creyentes o no. Como científico, sé que hay informes de ovnis y quiero estudiarlos para ver si hay un patrón y lo que ese patrón puede decirme sobre lo que está pasando y cómo podemos desarrollar una metodología para estudiarlo. Eso es ciencia pura.
Jacques Vallée, como uno de los primeros en sugerir que los ovnis no son solo un fenómeno moderno, es considerado un pionero tanto por los ufólogos como por los teóricos de los antiguos astronautas. Para él, los ovnis han sido su pasión, una que comenzó después de su primer contacto. Pontoise, Francia, mayo de 1955. En una tarde soleada en esta pequeña ciudad, a 50 kilómetros al noroeste de París, Jacques Vallée, de 15 años, salió corriendo de su casa cuando oyó que su madre lo llamaba desde el jardín.
Vi un objeto que hoy en día tengo que decir que era un ovni, un disco muy pequeño. Se dirigía a la iglesia del pueblo. No era un avión que te puedas imaginar. Luego, al día siguiente, hablé con un amigo de la universidad y él también lo había visto. Su casa estaba a menos de 1 kilómetro de la nuestra y lo observó con prismáticos y le pedí que lo dibujara. Lo que dibujó era exactamente igual a lo que yo había visto.
Lo interesante es que Jack Vallée le pidió a su amigo que dibujara lo que había visto. Una técnica de investigación muy buena. Se puede ver que, incluso a una edad temprana, abordó la cuestión tan racional y científicamente como pudo, y ese es un camino que siempre siguió.
El encuentro tuvo un gran efecto en el joven Jacques Vallée, quien decidió estudiar matemáticas y astrofísica antes de ser contratado como astrónomo en el Observatorio de París en 1961. Durante ese periodo, aprovechó el avanzado ordenador para desarrollar su investigación sobre los ovnis, comparando datos de informes de todo el mundo.
Empecé a utilizar el ordenador para entender los patrones entre los ovnis. Fue entonces cuando me interesé mucho y sentí que podía hacer una contribución, y después de eso fui contratado por la Universidad de Texas. Ellos sabían exactamente lo que estaba haciendo y me dijeron entonces que podía usar la computadora en Austin para trabajar, para investigar patrones de ovnis, así que eso fue muy alentador.
En 1962, Vallée se trasladó a Austin, Texas, para trabajar con astrónomos que cartografiaban el planeta Marte. Pero sus planes cambiaron cuando tuvo la oportunidad de conocer al Dr. J. Allen Hynek, el director del Departamento de Astronomía de la Universidad del Noroeste. Pero lo más importante es que también era el asesor científico de uno de los primeros proyectos del gobierno para investigar el fenómeno ovni, el proyecto Libro Azul. Iniciado en marzo de 1952, el proyecto confidencial de la Fuerza Aérea estadounidense estudió los informes y avistamientos de ovnis para determinar si constituían una amenaza para la seguridad nacional.
Mi esposa y yo volamos de Austin a Chicago y entonces nos reunimos con Hynek. Le llevé algunos registros de los avistamientos ovnis en Europa y sobre todo en Francia, y las estadísticas que había hecho con la base de datos informática de Austin. Y el Dr. Hynek estaba muy interesado porque, por supuesto, la Fuerza Aérea estaba acumulando registros con el proyecto del Libro Azul.
A los 24 años, Jacques Vallée empezó a trabajar como ayudante de Hynek en el proyecto Libro Azul y pasó 4 años estudiando los 20.000 casos de ovnis archivados.
El Dr. Hynek dijo, como astrónomo tienes que ser curioso. No estás ahí solo para explicar cosas al público. Estás ahí para investigar misterios. Y si es un misterio, tu trabajo es documentarlo e intentar estudiarlo.
Se convirtió en su mentor y claramente Hynek reconoció algo en Jacques Vallée. Dijo, bueno, aquí tienes a un tipo inteligente, un científico, un colega que está interesado, informado y apasionado por el tema de los ovnis, pero queriendo aplicar exactamente el tipo de metodología científica en la que Hynek, por supuesto, estaba interesado. Así que los dos hombres se convirtieron en colegas y en amigos.
Según Paul, el hijo de J. Allen Hynek, Vallée se convirtió en el mayor aliado de su padre.
Había muchos estudiantes de posgrado y profesores en nuestra casa todo el tiempo. Sin embargo, se notaba el claro afecto y reverencia que mi padre sentía por Jack. Jack se convirtió en un amigo y colega inestimable para mi padre. Alguien a quien mi padre respetaba profundamente, que era inflexiblemente honesto acerca de los fenómenos y, yo diría, valiente a la hora de empujar los límites de la ciencia convencional un poco más allá.
La colaboración de dos hombres tan cualificados científicamente enriqueció el campo de forma increíble. Fue un punto de inflexión en la historia de la ufología.
Juntos, Jacques Vallée y J. Allen Hynek no solo contribuyeron a legitimar el estudio de los ovnis, sino que también se convencieron de que los objetos que presenciaban no eran de origen humano. Y un caso que causó la mayor impresión de todos tuvo que ver con una enorme nave, un aterrizaje e incluso seres extraterrestres. Northwestern University, 1964. Mientras trabajaba en su doctorado en Ingeniería Industrial y Ciencias de la Informática, Jacques Vallée animó a su mentor, J. Allen Hynek, a considerar la posibilidad de investigar no solo los informes de objetos en el cielo, sino también las pruebas en tierra.
Le hablé de los aterrizajes, lo que él llamaba contactos inmediatos. Y el término se quedó así. Por supuesto, yo los llamaba aterrizajes en los que quedaban rastros en el suelo y todo lo demás que se podía observar físicamente. Y entonces dijo, pero si miras en los archivos de la Fuerza Aérea, verás que hay muy pocos aterrizajes. Y le dije, bueno, déjame procesar los archivos y te mostraré algunos. La razón por la que no aparecieron fue porque todos fueron explicados como aberraciones o alucinaciones. Encontrarás testigos muy fiables y encontrarás rastros. Y lo que nos llamó la atención fue el caso de Socorro, Nuevo México. Ahí no solo hubo aterrizaje, sino que hubo seres vivos.
Socorro, Nuevo México, 24 de abril de 1964, 5:45 p.m. Mientras perseguía a un auto a gran velocidad, el sargento Luni Zamora oyó un fuerte estruendo y vio una llama en el cielo hacia el suroeste. Pensando que había explotado dinamita, Zamora abandonó la búsqueda para investigar.
Vislumbré por la ventana, miré a mi izquierda y vi un huevo blanco, un objeto parecido a un huevo.
Luni Zamora vio algo. Una nave en el suelo, esencialmente en forma de huevo. Él vio unas figuras y dijo después que eran niños grandes o adultos pequeños, lo que plantea la pregunta, ¿eran extraterrestres como muchos creen? De repente, cuando se acercó un poco más, volvieron a entrar y el objeto despegó.
Zamora examinó la zona con su compañero, el sargento Sam Chávez. Los dos agentes documentaron que la vegetación estaba quemada en varios lugares y que el objeto había dejado 4 impresiones perpendiculares. Decenas de otros investigadores llegaron al lugar poco después del incidente y en los días siguientes.
En realidad había 4 niveles de investigación. La policía de Socorro, el FBI y su equipo, el equipo de seguridad del aeródromo y los investigadores especiales de la Fuerza Aérea, que enviaron al doctor Hynek, y eso se convirtió en parte del proyecto Libro Azul, como no identificado por todos los que estaban allí con él.
Ciertamente creo que Luni Zamora tuvo una experiencia muy significativa y estoy interesado en los rastros que dejaron y en el análisis de los materiales de esos rastros. Hasta que sepamos más al respecto, todo lo que puedo decir, por decepcionante que parezca, es que estoy tan intrigado como usted.
Jack me dijo que fue este caso el que, en cierto modo, fue la gota que colmó el vaso para él. El que hizo que mi padre se sintiera cómodo hablando en público de seres y no solo de naves espaciales.
Fue una transición difícil para el Dr. Hynek admitir que si los aterrizajes no solo eran importantes, sino que eran la mayor fuente de datos físicos relevantes que uno podría conseguir.
Para Jacques Vallée, la recopilación de datos era la clave para resolver el misterio ovni. Como parte de su esfuerzo por crear una base de datos mundial, Vallée, con la ayuda del Dr. Hynek, creó una red internacional de científicos que investigaban el fenómeno. Se autodenominaron el Colegio Invisible, tomando su nombre de un grupo de eruditos europeos del siglo XVIII.
Algo parecido a lo que ocurrió en el siglo XVIII con el Colegio Invisible. Hicieron mucha astronomía, mucha física, química, biología, etc. Y la única razón por la que no fueron ahorcados o asesinados como brujos fue porque eran protegidos por el rey. El Dr. Hynek pensó que éramos como una nueva versión del Colegio Invisible. Personas como Costa de Beauregard en Francia, como el profesor Chauvin en Francia, eran de renombre internacional en sus campos, biología, relatividad, etc. Pero tenían mucho interés en hablar con nosotros sobre los ovnis, y claro, en secreto.
El Colegio Invisible comenzó en la casa del Dr. Hynek, donde recibían semanal o mensualmente a científicos de todo el mundo. Y allí debatían el tema de los ovnis, pero todos juraban guardar el secreto porque en aquella época no se podía hablar de ellos seriamente, sobre todo en el mundo de lo académico.
Aunque la mayoría de los miembros del Colegio Invisible permanecen en el anonimato, Jacques Vallée no. En 1965 publicó Anatomía de un fenómeno, uno de los primeros libros sobre el tema ovni escrito por un científico.
Anatomy of a Phenomenon fue una recopilación muy fuerte de estos informes ovni de la época. Analizó los datos, lo organizó todo, y eso hizo que su nombre destacara en el campo.
Pero mientras Vallée se forjaba una reputación en el campo de la ufología, el gobierno estadounidense buscaba la forma de cerrar sus investigaciones. En 1966, el llamado Comité Condon, dirigido por el físico Edward Condon, fue encargado por las Fuerzas Aéreas para evaluar si debían seguir financiando estudios como el proyecto Libro Azul.
Su trabajo era realmente hacer una determinación científica. ¿Esto es real? No lo es. ¿Qué debe hacer la Fuerza Aérea? ¿Se debería cerrar el proyecto Libro Azul? Y la respuesta fue en absoluto. No merece la pena seguir investigando científicamente.
Cuando comenzó el estudio de Condon, fue muy evidente que estaba amañado para dar una conclusión negativa. No quería quedarme en esas condiciones. Pensé, si la ciencia es así en Estados Unidos, no pertenecemos a este país.
Tras el decepcionante final de su estancia en el proyecto Libro Azul, Jacques Vallée regresó a París con su mujer y su hijo. Pero a medida que la reacción contra la investigación ovni se extendía en el mundo científico y académico, Jacques Vallée desarrollaría su teoría más profunda hasta el momento: que los extraterrestres siempre han estado entre nosotros. París, mayo de 1968. Jacques Vallée, de 30 años, trabajaba como ingeniero para la compañía Royal Dutch Shell cuando estallaron los disturbios civiles en toda Francia. Desencadenados por una serie de protestas estudiantiles contra el capitalismo y el consumismo, los disturbios desembocaron en una huelga nacional.
Fueron 3 meses en los que nadie trabajó. Pude dedicarme a tiempo completo a mi propia investigación. Recopilé muchos libros de áreas que había querido estudiar durante mucho tiempo. Y la cuestión es, en el fondo, una pregunta científica. Si tenemos ovnis y ondas ovni, ¿cuándo empezaron a llegar?
Vallée descubrió que los informes sobre objetos misteriosos en el cielo no se limitaban a relatos contemporáneos. De hecho, cuanto más profundizaba en los orígenes del fenómeno, más se remontaba en el tiempo.
Hay mucha literatura en el mundo islámico sobre los genios y otras criaturas creadas por Dios, junto a los hombres y los animales. Así que empecé a investigar sobre eso. Y lo que me llamó la atención es que si retrocedemos en el tiempo, podemos ver que la gente lo interpretaba en términos religiosos, ya sea como el mal, o ángeles, o apariciones religiosas.
Jacques Vallée se dio cuenta de que existían ciertos vínculos entre los avistamientos modernos y los antiguos relatos populares sobre luces extrañas e incluso encuentros con entidades. Y dijo, mira, podrían ser los mismos fenómenos. Sin embargo, la gente usa palabras diferentes según su idioma y según su sistema de creencias.
Busqué especialmente en Europa. Muchos eran cuentos de hadas que oía de niño. Resultó que procedían de observaciones reales. Algunos folcloristas del siglo XIX y principios del XX en Irlanda, Gales y Escocia fueron por ahí recogiendo informes de personas que encontraban no solo personitas, sino personitas con rasgos extraños. Casas extrañas en las que se perdía la noción del tiempo, donde salías y habían pasado años. Entonces empiezas a ver que esas personas se enfrentaban a otra raza y que había comunicación con ellos.
Jacques Vallée se dio cuenta de que muchas de las historias que tenemos de la Edad Media, de trolls, hadas y cosas así, le recordaban a historias similares que tenemos hoy en el mundo ovni. Así que él se preguntó, ¿es posible que estas viejas historias sean idénticas de hecho a las que vemos en los fenómenos ovnis modernos?
En 1969, Jacques Vallée publicó la culminación de estas investigaciones en un libro titulado Pasaporte a Magonia, nombre del antiguo reino en las nubes detallado en el folclore medieval francés.
En ese libro describió que tal vez algunas de estas viejas historias, leyendas y cuentos de hadas no son necesariamente invenciones, sino que pueden ser descripciones de visitantes extraterrestres que nuestros antepasados interpretaron como cuentos de hadas.
Pasaporte a Magonia fue transformador al sugerir que estas cosas, sean lo que sean, han interactuado con nosotros a lo largo de la historia en todos los continentes, en todas las culturas.
En aquella época, la idea era que los ovnis no empezaron a aparecer hasta 1947 con el avistamiento de Kenneth Arnold. Pero Vallée vio que no era cierto, que aparecían en una cultura tras otra y que siempre habían estado junto a nosotros.
Con Pasaporte a Magonia, Jacques Vallée se convirtió en una figura seminal no solo para los ufólogos, sino también para los teóricos de los antiguos astronautas. Y su libro salió apenas unos meses después de Recuerdos del Futuro, del suizo Erich von Däniken, quien también exploraba las posibilidades de que los extraterrestres ya habían visitado la Tierra en un pasado lejano.
Cuando uno lee las palabras de Jacques Vallée, no puede evitar pensar en la obra de Erich von Däniken. Recuerdos del Futuro y Pasaporte a Magonia llegaron a la misma conclusión. Se trata de un fenómeno antiguo.
Me encantan algunos de los libros de Jacques Vallée. Es un hombre brillante. Y por supuesto, ahí afuera en el universo puede haber diferentes formas extraterrestres, no solo forma humana. Podrían ser seres pequeños, seres más grandes, gigantes. No tenemos ni idea.
Los teóricos de los antiguos astronautas citan Magonia como uno de los muchos momentos en los que Jacques Vallée se encontró en el centro de la investigación ovni, que amplió los horizontes de lo que se consideraba posible. Pero sus teorías más audaces aún estaban por llegar. Teorías que desafiarían nuestra comprensión no solo de los ovnis, sino de todo el cosmos. Universidad de Stanford, 1972. Jacques Vallée fue reclutado por la Fundación Nacional de Ciencias para trabajar como investigador principal en un proyecto conocido como ARPANET. Allí ayudó a construir la primera red informática pública jamás desarrollada y es considerada por muchos como la predecesora del Internet.
ARPA era la agencia de proyectos de investigación avanzada del Pentágono. Había 15 centros de computación en universidades. En el Stanford Research Institute teníamos el segundo computador en Internet. Yo dirigía uno de los proyectos entre muchos e implementamos los primeros sistemas de conferencias por ordenador cuando ARPANET se iba a convertir en Internet.
Esa es una parte increíble de la historia de Vallée. Se fue a Silicon Valley y tuvo mucho éxito en los primeros días de ARPANET.
Mientras trabajaba como ingeniero superior de investigación en Stanford, en su tiempo libre, Vallée seguía recopilando informes de fenómenos aéreos no identificados. Y cuanta más información recopilaba, más empezaba a cuestionarse la propia naturaleza de los ovnis.
Lo que descubrí fue que los ufólogos seguían hablando de los ovnis como si fueran aviones avanzados. Bueno, eso prácticamente ignora todo lo que hacen, sin importar lo que sea. Ciertamente, no es nada que podamos cuantificar basada con nuestra ciencia. Y si preguntas a los testigos a qué velocidad iban, te dirán, subió y luego desapareció. Y la interpretación es que encendieron, por ejemplo, los motores y se fueron ¡boom! Y ya no los ves. Eso no es verdad.
Vallée llegó a creer, basándose en la literatura, así como los diversos avistamientos y la documentación, que tal vez lo que estamos tratando es un fenómeno interdimensional y que, efectivamente, los extraterrestres vienen de otras dimensiones.
Jacques Vallée fue uno de los primeros científicos en plantear una teoría multidimensional en el contexto del tema ovni. Jack estuvo adelantado a su tiempo y fue lo suficientemente abierto como científico para salir y demostrar su pasión.
Jacques Vallée cambió su opinión de las naves espaciales de tuercas y tornillos a la idea de que vivimos en un multiverso y que estas múltiples existencias están sucediendo todas al mismo tiempo y que algunos de los avistamientos podrían ser solo rastros de estas civilizaciones moviéndose entre las dimensiones.
La idea de que estamos en un universo que tiene más de 3 o 4 dimensiones temporales no es nada nuevo en física y se remonta a hace unos 50 años. He hablado con científicos y físicos que insisten en que, en esencia, el espacio y el tiempo son percepciones humanas. Y esa es la postura actual de la física. Y no lo dicen las personas que estudian los ovnis, lo dice la física. Yo creo que parte de mi trabajo... A ver, no soy tan buen físico como para aportar más ideas, pero puedo añadirle leña a ese incendio.
Jacques Vallée compartió su idea de los viajeros interdimensionales con su antiguo colega y amigo de muchos años, J. Allen Hynek, y juntos publicaron la teoría en el libro de 1975, The Edge of Reality.
El señor Vallée abrió la puerta a un nuevo tipo de ufología, no solo de seres verdes con platillos voladores aterrizando en el césped de la Casa Blanca, sino de criaturas de otra dimensión, criaturas que pueden cruzar pasadizos y moverse entre universos.
Las controvertidas ideas de Vallée y Hynek captaron la imaginación del público, y poco después de la publicación del libro, también captaron la atención del cineasta más célebre de Hollywood, Steven Spielberg.
Estoy convencido de que pasa algo, pero nadie sabe lo que es. El Dr. Hynek ciertamente no sabe lo que es. Yo tengo teorías, él las tiene, pero nadie puede asegurarlo. Si alguien pudiera, no hubiera misterio.
La influencia de Jacques Vallée fue tan profunda que llamó la atención del director Steven Spielberg. Vallée es el modelo para el personaje de Claude Lacombe, el científico francés que aparece en la película Encuentros cercanos de tercer tipo.
Me enteré por el Dr. Hynek de que uno de los personajes estaba basado en mí. Un periodista de Hollywood invitó a Steven Spielberg a comer con nosotros. Y así los tres hablamos de la película. Y me confirmó que querían un científico que fuera de otra cultura, no estadounidense, y que pensara de otra manera. Y Steven Spielberg me dijo que había leído mi primer libro, Anatomy of a Phenomenon, publicado en el 65, que significa que tenía tiempo estudiando sobre el tema. Eso fue maravilloso, porque normalmente en Hollywood los extraterrestres llegan y empiezan a rodar, y eso no es lo que él quería hacer. Él quería mostrar interacción, contacto humano.
Con una recaudación de más de $300 millones en todo el mundo, la película se convirtió en un gran éxito y avivó el interés del público tanto por el misterio de los ovnis como por Jacques Vallée. Y en las décadas siguientes, Vallée volvería a encontrarse en el centro de una investigación secreta sobre ovnis por el gobierno de los Estados Unidos. Silicon Valley, California. A medida que se acercaba el final del siglo XX, el científico y astrónomo francés Jacques Vallée comenzó a centrarse en la financiación de tecnologías emergentes, impulsando avances en todos los campos, desde las redes inalámbricas a la biotecnología y la nanotecnología. Vallée también deseaba llevar la ufología a una nueva era tecnológica, y en 1995 tuvo su oportunidad cuando conoció al empresario aeroespacial Robert Bigelow.
A mediados de los 90, el multimillonario Robert Bigelow entró en toda esta escena. Financia un esfuerzo científico civil, el National Institute of Discovery Science, que investigaba el fenómeno y otros casos relacionados. Él reunió a algunos de los mejores en el campo y, por supuesto, eso lo llevó a Jacques Vallée.
La investigación que el señor Bigelow financió fue absolutamente notable. En ciencia tienes buenos científicos con buenas ideas, pero se necesita alguien que tenga una visión de hacia dónde se dirige el esfuerzo. El señor Bigelow es un líder empresarial excepcional.
Bigelow creó su propia organización dedicada a desvelar el misterio ovni y contaba con un increíble grupo de personas, y Jacques Vallée era una de ellas. Estas relaciones llegaron a ser cruciales en el desarrollo del tema en las décadas siguientes.
Trabajando con Bigelow, Vallée creó la base de datos ovni más completa de la historia moderna. Denominado programa Capella, utiliza la inteligencia artificial para investigar los patrones que se esconden tras el fenómeno ovni.
El Dr. Vallée reunió una base de datos de más de 260,000 documentaciones, todas relacionadas con los fenómenos ovni. Tardó casi 60 años en lograrlo. Y quizá podríamos utilizar las nuevas herramientas de inteligencia artificial para, por ejemplo, revisar todos esos documentos una vez más y ver si así podemos encontrar algún patrón.
Si me hablas de algo que has visto en el cielo, existe la posibilidad de que haya llegado a mí como si fuera un avión, quizás una nube en el reflejo de la luna. Pero hay otras 200 posibilidades que mi cerebro no puede imaginar. La IA puede ayudar.
Soy físico, y el primer paso cuando eres físico es recopilar los datos. Eso es lo primero que haces, y es lo primero que Vallée ha hecho aquí.
Vallée fue el primero en aplicar la informática al estudio de los avistamientos de ovnis, y en muchos sentidos está encontrando la manera de aplicar la tecnología moderna al fenómeno.
En diciembre de 2017, Casi una década después de que Vallée creara la base de datos Capella, un artículo del New York Times reveló que Robert Bigelow formó parte de un proyecto militar secreto llamado Programa de Identificación de Amenazas Aeroespaciales Avanzadas, ATIP. Se llevó a cabo entre 2007 y 2012 y recibió $22 millones del Congreso.
Eso volvió loco al mundo. La gente se quedó asombrada porque el gobierno de Estados Unidos siempre había dicho que no estaban interesados, que no existían. Lo que descubrimos después fue que el programa ATIP estaba utilizando la base de datos Capella, invirtiendo más dinero en ella y trabajando para construirla. Entonces Vallée acabó teniendo un impacto tremendo en este programa secreto de ovnis que ahora todos conocemos.
Para muchos ufólogos de todo el mundo, la revelación del ATIP y su uso de la base de datos Capella marcó el comienzo de una nueva era. Fue la primera vez que el gobierno estadounidense reconoció abiertamente la cuestión ovni desde el final del proyecto Libro Azul, más de 50 años antes, en el que Jacques Vallée también fue un colaborador clave.
Y es una parte increíble de la historia de Vallée que a partir de la década de 1950 comenzó a crear bases de datos de avistamientos de ovnis. En 2017 llegó este informe. Era casi como un extra, pero aquí está. ¿Y qué hace? Creando una base de datos. Bases de datos, bases de datos. Se trata de la acumulación de estas historias y de lo que contienen.
La mayoría de los datos contemporáneos que tenemos, por desgracia, siguen siendo confidenciales, pero ya hemos podido ver muchas cosas a partir de lo que hemos hecho con bases de datos más pequeñas. Creo que la gente está haciendo un buen trabajo utilizándolas, así que deberíamos tener mejores respuestas con el tiempo.
A medida que la ufología entra en un nuevo capítulo en el siglo XXI, Jacques Vallée sigue siendo tan relevante como siempre. Y ahora está prestando su experiencia a un esfuerzo innovador para identificar objetos en el espacio que puedan contener tecnologías extraterrestres. Cambridge, Massachusetts, julio de 2021. El astrónomo y astrofísico de Harvard, Avi Loeb, lanza una nueva búsqueda científica de inteligencia extraterrestre llamada Proyecto Galileo.
Avi Loeb, de Harvard, es un reputado científico que causó un gran revuelo al hablar de investigar tecnologías de civilizaciones extraterrestres. El profesor afirma: ¿por qué no vigilar los meteoritos y las cosas del espacio? Quizá algunas de ellas sean los restos de una civilización avanzada. Ese es el Proyecto Galileo.
Entre los muchos expertos que contribuyen al Proyecto Galileo se encuentra Jacques Vallée.
Sabemos qué equipos podemos lanzar a los objetos. Lo que queremos saber es si entran y salen y hacia dónde se dirigen. Los astrónomos llevan mucho tiempo haciéndose estas preguntas. Con el Proyecto Galileo estoy muy agradecido de poder trabajar con gente que dedicaban su tiempo y su vida a esto. Esto es ciencia, ciencia pura.
Después de casi 70 años investigando y documentando ovnis, desde ayudar a J. Allen Hynek con el proyecto Libro Azul, hasta publicar libros pioneros y crear la mayor base de datos del mundo, Vallée tiene la esperanza de que su trabajo haya acercado a la humanidad a resolver un misterio muy antiguo, uno que se remonta a los albores de nuestra historia.
Las contribuciones de Jacques Vallée al campo de los ovnis son inmensamente valiosas. Fue una de las personas que cambió el paradigma y le llevó décadas conseguirlo. Fue uno de los primeros que miró los datos y dijo: aquí está ocurriendo algo, y sin duda merece una investigación más profunda.
Lo que convierte a Vallée en una figura única en todo el panorama de la ufología es que es una persona a la que todos, escépticos y creyentes, lo toman en serio.
Jacques Vallée ha influido en el mundo de muchas maneras. Es un escritor de ciencia ficción con talento, un novelista con talento, un informático con talento. Fue uno de los primeros en aplicar la tecnología al mundo de los ovnis para organizar los datos. Cualquier conversación que tengas con Jacques Vallée, cualquier entrevista que le hagas, habla de la necesidad de más datos. Nunca serán suficientes.
Mi padre hizo que mucha gente se sintiera cómoda aceptando la idea de que los ovnis podían ser reales. Creo que Jack llevó a la gente aún más lejos, haciéndoles cuestionar el origen mismo del fenómeno.
Jacques Vallée es un hombre sumamente inteligente. Es un pensador muy fuera de lo común. Cuando empezó, muchas de las cosas que decía eran una locura y ahora se han aceptado. Cuando se escriba la historia de este tema, el nombre de Jacques Vallée siempre estará. Y con razón.
Durante más de 6 décadas, Jacques Vallée ha hecho contribuciones inestimables para ayudar a resolver el misterio ovni. Y continúa haciéndolo hoy en día. Su vida de increíble investigación y exploración científica conducirá pronto a respuestas concretas sobre lo que ha estado ocurriendo en nuestros cielos durante miles de años. Solo el tiempo lo dirá. Pero una cosa es segura. Si alguna vez llegamos a la verdad, será en gran parte gracias al trabajo de Jacques Vallée.
Aún no lo he resuelto. Siento que en mi vida no habría podido hacer una contribución suficiente para poder encontrar la respuesta. Hice una contribución con la ayuda de gente muy inteligente y todo lo que puedes esperar en ciencia a hacer una buena contribución.
A bizarre incident occurred in the outskirts of an American suburb called Raccoon City. It was later revealed that the terrible disaster had been caused by the T virus, a mutagenic toxin created by the international enterprise Umbrella Incorporated for use in bioweapon experiments. The Raccoon City Police Department's Special Stars Unit immediately began investigation into it. The case was apparently closed, thanks to the efforts of STARS members Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine. But the Umbrella Corporation's experiments were far from finished.
What have we got here?
That guy's a maniac. Why'd he bite me?
What could have done this? What was that? What are these things? All right, that's far enough. Don't move! Don't move. No! What's up with that guy? That was a clean hit. I'm running out of ammo here.
Oh! Wait! Don't shoot!
Get down! We can't stay out here. Head to the police station. It'll be a lot safer. There! Buckle up.
Okay. What's going on? I arrived in town, and the whole place went insane.
The radio's out.
You're a cop, right?
Yeah, first day on the job. Great, huh? Name's Leon Kennedy. Nice to meet you.
Mine's Claire. Claire Redfield. I came to find my brother, Chris.
Hey, could you open the glove box?
Sure. There's a gun inside.
Better take it with you.
Look out!
You okay?
Still in one piece.
That maniac's gonna ram us! I'll meet you there.
Okay.
Freeze! Who are you? What are you doing here?
Hold your fire! I'm a human!
Sorry about that. I thought you were one of them.
What's going on in this town?
Hold on. I don't have a clue. By the time I noticed something was wrong, the entire city was infested with zombies.
Hey, wait!
Oh, man. Who are you? Oh, you must be the new guy. Leon. Sorry, but it looks like your party has been canceled.
What happened?
About 2 months ago, there was this incident involving zombies in a mansion located in the outskirts of this city. Chris and the other STARS members discovered that Umbrella was behind everything. They risked their lives to reveal the truth, but no one believed them. Not long after that, all this started to happen.
Hang in there.
Don't worry about me. Just rescue the survivors in the other rooms. Here, take this key card. You should be able to unlock the doors in the hall with this. Now go. But just go.
Fine, but I'm coming back for you. Just hold on.
What are you doing?
I don't have a clue.
Leon!
It's good to see you're still among the living. It looks like we're not gonna find your brother here after all. There's no reason for us to stay any longer than necessary. Let's split up, look for any survivors, and get out of here.
Right.
One last thing. Here's a radio. Take it. That way we can keep in touch if anything happens.
So this is a different type of video for my channel. Until now I've only posted like gameplay footage, replays, things like that. But I've been wanting to do more personal content for a long time now. So I thought like a Game of the Year list would be a good place to start with. So this is going to be the 25 best games I played in 2025. It's going to be a mix of old and new games. It's not just games released in 2025, but it's going to be also games that I played for the first time, basically. Which means I'm not going to include any of my forever games, because otherwise it'd be number 1, 2, 3 in the list every year, and that would get boring. So I'll just give them like a quick honorable mention. So first up, I played Doronpachi Daiojo earlier this year. And I've been playing White Label on and off since the PS4 version came out. And earlier this year, I was able to get 1.9 billion, which is like a higher score than I thought I'd even be able to get. So I was glad I was finally able to put that all together. So this would be number 1 on my list like every single year because it's the best game that's ever been made. So I can't include it, obviously. After that, I played Mushihime-sama Futari's God Mode for a little while. I was able to get a little over 4 billion with Palm. And if you've ever clicked on my channel before, you've probably seen my really old Futari video with the other character, Reiko. So that was the first shooter I really grinded for months, and even to this day I still think it's like one of the best games that's ever been made. The only game I'd definitely put above it is Doronpachi Daiojo. So this is another game that would just top the list every year, and I'm not really satisfied with the score I got with Palm, so I'll work on that a little more and probably play it again this year. And I also played Ketsui for about 50 hours or so right before my first trip to Japan. I was trying to get good enough at it so I could easily play it in the arcades and maybe get into the Uralube, possibly clear it, but like once I realized that I didn't have enough time to practice enough, I just dropped it immediately and switched over to Futari. Because, you know, getting good at Futari is much easier than getting good at Ketsui. So maybe in 2026 I'll just go back to Ketsui and relearn it for the 10th time. And with that out of the way, let's get to the 25 best games I played in 2025. Number 25, Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. So before the Souls games really exploded in popularity, like Team Ninja got in early on the trend with Neo on the PS3. And ever since then, I think they've really solidified themselves as like the de facto alternate Souls developer. Like there's a lot that they don't do as well as From Software, but one thing that Team Ninja in particular excels at is action. And their Souls games tend to have faster, more complex combat than the From Software games. And Stranger of Paradise is no exception. So this game is a remake of Final Fantasy 1. So being a Final Fantasy game, they decided to include a job system. You have things like warriors, mages, monks, thieves, paladins, and all kinds of classes that you can level up and unlock new skills and abilities for. And you can swap between the classes mid-combo to chain together longer strings and stuff. So it's fun to figure out which styles you like and which ones work together really well. And there's more to it than that. Like you can finish enemies with Ninja Gaiden like obliterations. Like you have a time-limited super mode and parries and all kinds of stuff that you'd expect to see in action games nowadays. So it's a very fun game to play at like a base level. So why isn't it higher on this list? Well, I thought like the last 2 or 3 stages in the game, whatever you want to call them, like they were just miserable to play. It's like obviously this wasn't a high budget game, so they copy and paste the same hallways and environments over and over and over and over and over and over, and you have to run back and forth between them to unlock some new environment that looks exactly the same as the ones that you were just running through, and it's just very tedious. It's not fun at all. This isn't a long game. I think one playthrough is like maybe 20 hours or something like that, so it really feels like they were just doing everything they could to pad out the playtime, which to me is like always a huge negative on a game. Just make a shorter game that's more fun to replay and play once. But the combat is very fun, which is why this game is on my list at all. I was just glad to be done with it once those end credits started rolling. I haven't played the DLC yet, so I'll probably go back to that someday, but for now I'll just look forward to Neo 3, because Neo is Team Ninja's flagship series nowadays, and they're going to give that game the budget and time and all the money it needs to be great. Number 24, Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Sega finally released a new Shinobi game after 14 years. Art of Vengeance is a divisive game, but I think it's very well made for what they were trying to do with it. But for me, this game has too much modern game design to put it higher up on the list. The combat mechanics are more complex than the previous Shinobi games. Occasionally lock you down into arenas and you have to fight and clear out all the enemies before you can advance. So you have like more advanced combos and other things that you can do, rather than the typical Shinobi just throwing kunai and maybe hit an enemy with a sword. So the combat is very fun, and you have a bunch of your usual ninja game movement mechanics, like you can dash, sprint, wall run, you have like a grappling hook and stuff. So it's a very fun game, and it controls like super smoothly. What I didn't like is how big the stages are in this game. They have a lot of optional paths with collectibles and upgrades to find, optional battles in them. And sometimes you have to go so far out of your way, you're just like running through empty space, doing nothing interesting at all, kind of like a Metroid game. And it just has too much dead space and downtime for what I would want out of a Shinobi game. Arcade mode cuts out some of the downtime, and it's fun to try to get an S rank on every stage, because in order to get an S rank, you have to finish it without getting hit, I think. So when I played this, I don't know if it's been updated since then, but the requirements for an S rank and the breakdown for scoring was like completely hidden. So you didn't really know what to do to optimize your score besides finish the game without getting hit. That's good enough to get an S rank 99% of the time. So maybe you can get a higher score if you just do everything in the stage and go out of your way to sacrifice time to get all the optional stuff. I don't really know. Honestly, I don't really care. An S rank is good enough for me, and going for S ranks was a fun challenge. So that's why I enjoyed this game. It looks great, sounds great. I'm looking forward to the DLC. Not what I wanted out of Shinobi. Number 23. Baki Hanma Blood Arena. I don't really follow Baki. Like, I watched a little bit of the anime right before I played this game. I haven't read any of the manga. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of the series. I don't dislike it either. I mean, it was fine. But I am a fan of the Punch-Out games, and this is a new Punch-Out. And these same developers previously made Thunder Ray, which was another Punch-Out game from a couple of years ago, and that was a really good game. So Baki is fairly bare bones. Like, there's almost no story to it, and there's not much to do besides just fight the 12 bosses. It has 3 difficulty levels. I played it on normal and hard. I honestly cannot even remember a difference between normal and hard. I'm sure there is some. The one thing that I felt was kind of strange about this game is that the difficulty curve is just a little odd. If you're fighting the 12 bosses in order, you kind of expect them to start out easy and just keep getting harder and more complex as you go on. But like halfway through the game, for me at least, I got to a boss that's like way more complex, much more difficult to learn than bosses that come later after them. But maybe because they set the game up in like circuits where you're supposed to do like 4 bosses at a time, then the 5th one's easier. I don't know. I just felt that was a little strange. But other than that, it's just a really well made Punch-Out game. You know, they have 12 bosses. It's fun to learn all their patterns. They have varied characters to fight against. The game looks fantastic. They have really talented artists on their team. For me, that's all I really need out of these games. Some people might want more stuff to do. They're going to be releasing DLC fighters, I think. So add a few more, make the game better. Why not? Number 22. Earthbound. So I first played this game maybe like 25 years ago when I was a kid, but I never came close to finishing it. But still, in that 25 years, the art, the graphics, the writing, the worldview, you know, it stuck with me. I've always wanted to go back to this and play it, and I finally did. It's kind of hard to go back to a game like this nowadays because it's been imitated over and over and over. It gets to the point where it's just like, I'm sick of seeing Earthbound, but I feel like I'm pretty good at putting stuff like that aside, and so I was able to play this game and enjoy it for what it is. Like, I really like the world and art and worldview, like I said before. It's still very entertaining. I don't like the combat very much. I mean, it's okay. It gets the job done, but everything else is very enjoyable. With that said, I haven't finished the game yet. It never really hooked me. Like, I just play it a little bit here and there. I never really felt like I had to spend like all of my free time trying to get it done and see all the story to the end. I just don't care that much. I am pretty close to the end of the game, but for now it's just a good, solid RPG that I'm enjoying. Maybe the last 20% of the game that I have left will skyrocket it up to be one of my favorite RPGs of all time. Not really expecting that, but it's possible. Number 21. The Revenge of Shinobi. So this is another game from my childhood that I had a lot of nostalgia for, but after growing up, I never went back to it and really learned how to play it. And 2025 being the year of the ninja felt like a good time to revisit it, so that's what I did right before Art of Vengeance came out. And Revenge is definitely my preferred blueprint for Shinobi. It's just a totally linear, 30 to 40 minute long action platform game. So if you've never played Shinobi before, it plays a bit differently than how you'd expect if you played a lot of newer ninja games. Like, you walk through the stages, you don't run. You mainly attack with your kunai, not your sword. But it all works perfectly for how this game is designed. It might take some adjustment to get used to that Shinobi style, but that's what helps set it apart from Ninja Gaiden, Strider, Shadow of the Ninja, whatever you want to name. It's its own thing, which is good. I like that. I like unique. And one of the fun things about Revenge of Shinobi is that Sega just decided that they're going to put Godzilla, RoboCop, Terminator, and Batman in it because, like, they had no idea what copyrights were or something. And that just makes it more awesome. So if you've never played this game before, I really recommend downloading that original ROM file that has all those copyrighted characters in it because Sega had to revise it and remove all of that. Like, they're never going to sell that to you again. And the original with all those copyrighted characters is just better. Because, like, Shinobi fighting Godzilla, come on. Number 20. Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword of Chaos. The original Ninja Gaiden is an all-time classic game, and it's always hard to follow a game that's that good. I felt like this game fell a little bit short of the first game in pretty much every way, but being a little bit short of a classic game still makes this a great game on its own. It has some fun new powers to play with, like the shadow clones, and it keeps the same solid level of challenge you expect out of Ninja Gaiden. And sometimes that's all you really need. It looks good, it sounds good, still has that same classic Ninja Gaiden gameplay. The last stage was pretty challenging, so it felt good to get that no death clear. I had fun with this game, it just wasn't quite as good as the original. Number 19. Terminator 2D No Fate. So this is going to be the best Terminator game, right? I rewatched the movie after playing this, and you can tell that the developers grew up as fans of it, probably from when they were kids, because they tried to adapt as much of it as they could into the game. And they included lots of small details and references, like, all over the place. But since they're adapting the movie, they probably felt like they had to include as many scenes from it as they could into the game. Which means that some of these scenes, they're not gonna make the most interesting game to play. Like the chase scene with John Connor and Arnold on the highway, with the T-1000 chasing after them in the truck. It's perfectly fine to play in the game. There's nothing really wrong with it, but playing it over and over, it's not something I look forward to. And likewise, there's the escape from the asylum that Sarah Connor's in. In the game, you don't have to be stealthy. You can actually fight your way through all the guards if you want, but they can kill you in one hit, so it's a bit risky. But there are some scenes in that stage still where you have to, like, hide in the closet and wait for the T-1000 to pass by. It's perfectly fine for what it is, but it's not something I look forward to replaying. And there are some other gimmicky stages like that in the game, but for the most part, it's just like a really solid run and gun. And what's interesting about it is that it's not like a copy-paste of Contra or Metal Slug, like the standard run and gun formula. Like, they had some of their own ideas that they wanted to include in it. So you have a cover system and an invincible roll. And with a roll, like, John Connor he's too big to duck under a lot of enemy fire, so you have to roll underneath it and time that correctly, otherwise you're going to get hit. But Sarah, she's smaller, so she can just duck under that fire, shoot the enemies, and she can also slide into enemies, and, like, it stuns them for a second, and you get up and smack them with your knife or baton or whatever she uses. And killing enemies with a melee attack gives you more points. And that's another good thing about this game, the scoring system. It's simple, but it works really well and it's fun to play with. So basically you just have a multiplier that keeps increasing until it gets up to times 10. And if you get hit, that multiplier resets to 0. It's simple, works perfectly fine. The only problem with it is that there are some sections in the game where you can just milk enemies and farm score, and it's not interesting at all. But, you know, it's not a big deal. I don't think anybody's going to take it that seriously. It just helps make the game more fun. And this game has branching paths that let you see like alternate what-if versions of the story. So while this game has maybe like 20 stages total in it or something like that, you never play all of them all at once. Like which stages you get just depends on which choices you make in the story. And you can go through a path that's really short, or you can go through a path that has like 14 stages in it. It takes like 40 minutes, maybe to an hour to finish it. And there's a few different game modes that you can play that also mix up the stage order, so you're never playing the exact same thing in the exact same order every time, which is nice. It keeps it a little more fresh. The pixel art is fantastic. It has a good soundtrack. It even has licensed music that they use in the movie, so they really went all out on this game. Like, it's really well made. Like, I had some complaints about the stages and maybe the scoring could be more fine-tuned, but it's really not a big deal. Like, I don't think they could have made this game too much better. And I had a lot of fun with it. I really recommend playing it if you like Terminator, if you like running guns, if you like both of them. It's a great game. Number 18. Eartheon. So thinking back on this game now, I feel like I'm underrating it, but that's because like they kind of left a bad taste in my mouth with it. When it first came out, I thought it was like a really fun shooting game. Looks incredible, sounds great, very simple, no complex scoring mechanics or anything like that. It's just shoot and move. The stages were all very well designed. There's nothing wrong with the bosses. It's just a very good console shooting game. The one thing about the original version of this game is that to play for score, you basically just farmed the last boss as much as you could. And I thought that was intentional because it's exactly like Darius, basically. So it's like, oh, they're paying an homage to Darius, another simple shooting game from the past. That's cool. But then on Twitter, I saw that they announced that they were gonna patch that out of the game. So I was just like, what? You're gonna remove the only thing that makes scoring in this game even the tiniest bit interesting, and now it's just gonna be like a game that you play once and just never care about again? That put a bad taste in my mouth, and from that point I was just like, alright, forget about this game. But then after the patch came out, and I still haven't played it since then, I saw that the changes that they made to the scoring weren't as simple as we're just going to remove this thing and everything else is the same. They actually made a lot more changes to it and made it an overall better game than that original version. So this should probably be higher up on my list, honestly. And it probably would be if I just go back to it and play it again and give it that fair chance. But as someone who plays shooting games and has played a lot of them for scores very in depth, that really turned me off on this. So this is where it lands for now. Number 17. Monster Hunter World Iceborne. So I first played Monster Hunter World when it originally came out on the PS4, and I never played Iceborne. Earlier this year, right before Monster Hunter Wilds was coming out, I thought, man, I have Iceborne, I have Sunbreak, they're building up. I should at least play one of these before Wilds comes out. So I decided to play Iceborne, and playing it on my PC means I had to start from scratch. So I had to play through all the way through Monster Hunter World and then do Iceborne afterward. And Iceborne by itself, honestly, I don't remember that much about it, which is incredible because it's my most played game on Steam this year. Like, I know it has the new Ice World that they introduced and some new monsters, obviously. But what specifically is the Iceborne content and like the original Monster Hunter that I played? Because I didn't even play any of the updates that they added. I played the launch version of Monster Hunter World and then I never played it again. So all I can say is that I just played through Monster Hunter World again from the very beginning until the very end of Iceborne. I enjoyed it. It does have stuff I don't like about it. Like the tenderizing mechanic I think is terrible. I don't need that in any other Monster Hunter games anymore. Although when I finished this, I thought, man, I probably should have played Sunbreak instead, because Rise is much more fun. But I enjoyed it overall. It's Monster Hunter. It's one of the most popular games in the world, and I think most people have played it. So you know if you like it, if you don't like it. For me, I like Monster Hunter. I'm not going to play it non-stop all the time, but, you know, maybe once a year, twice a year, I get in that Monster Hunter mood where I just want to play the game for a while. I'll catch up on one of the older ones that I've let sit around, and this year I'll probably end up playing Sunbreak. And by the time I get around to actually playing Wilds, they'll have updated the game a bunch, and maybe it'll be better than it originally was. So yeah, this is a fun game. It's just not my favorite Monster Hunter. Number 16. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. When I first got a PS5, I had PlayStation Plus, and Final Fantasy VII was on there for a download. And it just got an update to be 60 FPS, 4K, whatever improvements they made. So I thought, oh, now's a good time to try this game out finally. So that was maybe like 4 years ago. And I remember playing it. I liked it a lot at first. Like, I liked the art style, graphics, story, characters, all that stuff. But you get to a point in the game where you're just hanging out with Aerith, you're collecting flowers. The story just keeps playing out. You're not really doing anything. There's no enemies to fight. At that point, I was just like, man, this is getting boring. And then after that, you go into this underground dungeon or whatever, and you have to manipulate these cranes to advance. And at that point, I was just so bored of the game. Like, I did not want to play it anymore. I just quit it at that point. Like, I just put it down, never came back to it. But since then, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out. And everyone's talking about how great it is. It's so much better than the first game. And I always wanted to try 7 again, eventually. So that's what I did this year. Like, it was on sale on PC. I got the twin pack with Remake and Rebirth, and I played through Remake. And this time I thought, all right, there's this boring section, and I'm going to get through it. Like, I don't care how bad it is, how boring it is. I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to see if the game gets better after that. And it does. Like, actually, right after the point where I quit, it starts to ramp up more. Like, stuff starts happening. It becomes interesting and fun again. And I enjoyed the game right to the end. And especially the end, actually, because they do a really great job ramping everything up and giving it a good climax. Like, it's just constantly building up. Like, the action gets heavier, the story is getting heavier, and it climaxes at the right time, which is great. It makes you want to play the next game afterward. So I will probably play Rebirth this year. I'm not sure when the third game is coming out. I'm thinking I'll play Rebirth right before that one drops at least. But yeah, aside from that lull with Aerith, and I understand why they do it. Like, they want you to get attached to the character and build the world up and all that stuff. So I'm not going to say any spoilers here, but I think most people know how the original story played out. Honestly, I hope that they take this story in completely different directions, like the rebuild of Evangelion, because that's the most interesting thing about remakes to me. Like, if I just wanted the same story, I have the original work. I don't need that. I don't need a remake. If you're gonna remake something, you can start from the same origin, but then branch out and do completely different things with it. That's what I want personally. Like the rebuild of Evangelion. I mean, it's not as good as the original series, but it's completely different. And it stands on its own, and it's still good on its own. It's just not as good. But nothing's as good, so, you know, you can't hold it to that high bar. So the hybrid action, turn-based, pausing combat type thing that they have going on in this game is fun to play with. The story is interesting. I liked all the characters. Graphics are phenomenal. Has good Final Fantasy music. Like, I'm not going to be listening to any of that music outside of the game, but it serves the game perfectly well. Great action set pieces. So I'm looking forward to playing Rebirth and seeing how this whole thing plays out. Number 15. Marvel Cosmic Invasion. So this is the only game this year that disappointed me a little bit. Coming from the developers who made Shredder's Revenge, which was one of the best games of 2022, and that game was a huge improvement over Scott Pilgrim, which they previously made, I thought this would be even better than Turtles. But I just don't like it as much. It still looks great. It has a big roster of characters to play as. It's not too long like a lot of modern beat 'em ups. And it has branching paths in the stage order, so you can switch up which stages you play in every run. You're not always doing the same thing over and over. And the combat system has this Marvel vs. Capcom style tag and assist mechanics that makes the moment-to-moment combat really fun. So it's all great. So why didn't I like it as much as I expected to? Honestly, the only thing I can think of that really stands out as like a bad thing about this game are the boss fights. And they're similar to the Ninja Turtle bosses in that they almost always have super armor and they just go about their patterns. And I'm not someone who automatically hates super armor. To me, it's just all about how it's been implemented. And I never had a problem with it at all in Ninja Turtles. In this game, I think it just doesn't work. So a lot of these bosses, they don't really give you an opening to hit them. Like they just keep going through their patterns and they have like a 2-second window where you can hit them twice with your regular character. So in order to hit them more reliably, you have to use a parry character, and you find which attacks that you can parry, which ones you can react to, and just parry them over and over and over. You can hit them maybe 3-4 times, see what they're going to do next, parry them again. And with some of these bosses, you can just get them in a parry loop. Like parry them, hit them, instantly parry them again, hit them, parry again, hit them. It's tedious, it's not fun, I don't like it. And some bosses are gimmicky, like the boss in the Wakanda stage. I can't remember his name, but you have to like destroy pylons while he's invisible, and then while the pylon is down, you can actually hit him. But of course, he's just jumping all over the screen with his super armor, so you have to hope and wait for him to land next to the pylon that you want to hit him at, and get your damage in that way. And then there's that vampire boss. His name is Null, I think. I don't really know some of these more modern characters or less popular characters. I don't follow Marvel that closely. But he was really annoying at first, but I think once you understand how he works, he's actually not bad at all. So I guess like as I learned more about the game, the negative stuff about the bosses became more tolerable, but I just don't think any of them are fun to fight, really. But there is that one Silver Surfer boss fight where Galactus is just throwing portals all over the floor constantly that do an insane amount of damage to you if you touch them. And Silver Surfer's just flying around doing dive attacks on you. They're waiting to parry, but you don't want to step into things while you're hitting them. And oh my god, it's just horrible. Absolutely atrocious. But, I mean, the bosses are the only things that really stand out as a negative to me. Everything else about this game on paper is great. Like I have no problem with any of the other stuff. So honestly, I can't say why I don't like this game as much as I thought I would, but I just don't. Maybe I just don't like the Marvel license as much as Ninja Turtles. I mean, it's still a fun game. I want to go back and play it more. I hope that they add more characters to play as, but it's not one of my favorite beat 'em ups. Oh, and another negative thing about this game is that the default difficulty is just like brain dead easy. It just makes the game so boring. You have to play arcade mode, put it on hard difficulty, and then you have like a real beat 'em up. That's when it becomes fun, because getting hit, taking damage, it has consequences, and you don't want to lose your characters in this game. They don't revive when the next stage starts, which I like that too. Like, it's pretty well balanced. It's not an easy game to clear on the highest difficulty, although I did see some videos of people just like standing across the screen and just laser beaming every enemy. It's like, wow, I didn't even think about doing that. It's so boring. But if it works, it works. But yeah, I still had fun with this game. I just wish I could figure out why I like Turtles more. Maybe just like that vanilla beat 'em up style is more to my taste, which it certainly is. Number 14. Silent Hill 2, the remake. So I've played the original Silent Hill 2, but I never finished it. I played it for maybe like 3 or 4 hours one day. I enjoyed it, just ended my session, never picked it up again. You know, that's just how it goes sometimes. So when this remake was coming out, Konami actually sent it to me, and I never played it. Sorry, Konami. But thank you for the game, because I finally played it this year, and it's actually really, really good. The story is excellent. The graphics are mostly amazing, except for some of the character models. They look a little strange. The combat is good, but the problem is that there's too much combat. You just fight the same enemies over and over and over and over and over and over. It's like, look, I've learned the patterns. I don't need to fight the same guy 500 times. I just don't. You don't need to put them all over the place just to slow you down or something. I don't get it. But the combat in a nutshell is fun. It feels good to just smack monsters with your 2x4, whatever the hell you use. Gun shooting feels good in Resident Evil 4 style. And yeah, the story is excellent. It's probably the main thing that everybody loves about Silent Hill 2. I finished it. I enjoyed pretty much every minute of it, and I'm not going to say any spoilers, but I got the water ending, and that is absolutely the true ending of the game. Ain't nobody going to tell me otherwise, and it's just an excellent horror game. I really enjoyed it. It made me excited to play Silent Hill F, and I want to play the Silent Hill 1 remake that Bloober is going to be making, and I should go back and play the original too. Number 13. Doom: The Dark Ages. When I played Doom Eternal for the first time, I thought that was one of the best FPS I ever played. Like, I could appreciate all of the potential depth and complexity in the combat. I could see, like, the more you play the game, the more you're going to learn about which weapons work best on which enemies, which combos you want to use. You're constantly switching and collecting ammo and all that good stuff. It's very fast-paced, non-stop action. That's what I love about games. So I always wanted to play it several more times. I just never did. It's still just sitting in my backlog, waiting for me to go back to it someday. So the Dark Ages goes in a bit of a different direction than Eternal, just like Eternal went in a different direction from Doom 2016. The Dark Ages has more open maps with side missions and collectibles and optional fights and things like that, kind of like Shinobi Art of Vengeance, which is normally not a good thing for me, and I definitely prefer a more linear game, but I mean, it works alright, just like it works alright in Shinobi. And while the combat is more simplified from Eternal, it still feels fantastic. You're still fighting big groups of enemies, I think bigger groups of enemies in the previous games, because you have larger environments, and they fill those environments up with all kinds of different enemies. Some of them are elevated, some of them fight you from a long range, some of them are going to be doing like melee combos on you that you have to parry all of the hits. Some enemies are going to be shooting you from a distance with green bullets that you reflect and send back at them, things like that. So it keeps you on your toes, and it's just always a lot of fun to play purely as an FPS. Like, there's a lot of different enemies to fight. They mix things together very well. I mean, the game looks incredible on modern PCs. It runs incredibly well, like it loads instantly. There's no hitching like there is on a lot of other modern PC games that you see on Unreal Engine especially. Like, id Tech just embarrasses that engine. I saw a lot of people complaining about the giant Pacific Rim mech fights in this game, or the Panzer Dragoon style flying missions. I mean, they're not the greatest thing about the game at all, but I don't have a problem with them. They're fine. Like, they're not great. They're not the best thing about the game, or anywhere near it, but as like a change of pace, it's okay. I like the flying missions more than the mech missions. The mech missions are a little boring, but they're easy. They're not a problem. And unlike Eternal, I actually played through this game several times. Like, I think I played through Nightmare mode alone like maybe 3 times or so. So I had a lot of fun with it, and that was when it came out. Like, they've updated the game several times since then. I haven't played any of the updates, so I don't know how it is nowadays. It's probably better, I would assume. Id seems to know what they're doing. So yeah, this is a great game, top to bottom. I fully enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing what Id does next. I actually thought that they would make like a new Quake instead of this game after Eternal. Because, like, where do you go from Eternal? So we'll see if they make another Doom, or if they go back and revive Quake now. Typically 3 games is enough for a series before it starts to get old. For me, anyway. I mean, they crank out Call of Duty non-stop, so, and that's still a massive game, so what do I know? Number 12. Neon Inferno. This is the latest game from the developers who previously made Steel Assault, which was a very fun action platform game from 3 or 4 years ago, maybe. It's been a while. While Steel Assault was a melee-focused action game, Neon Inferno is more of a Contra, Metal Slug type of run and gun. But it also infuses elements of other games into it, like Wild Guns. There's a lot of background gallery shooting in it, and there have been almost no games before that combine so many different elements into one arcade-style action game like this. And it all works together perfectly. And not only is the gameplay unique, it also stands out because of the presentation. The pixel art is absolutely phenomenal. The soundtrack is great. It has this nice neon cyberpunk aesthetic. It's just a very nice looking game. Smooth animation, everything. They did a great job of every aspect. And this game has the typical arcade structure that I love. You know, it's about 6 stages long, 30 to 40 minutes. Pretty good level of challenge all the way through. Like, that's what I want out of video games, and they gave it to me. So I'm totally satisfied. But, you know, it's not a perfect game. It doesn't have a particularly interesting scoring system. Like, I think Terminator did a better job with that, but, you know, I like this game overall more than Terminator. But it does have S ranks to go for, which I think you just get by not getting hit, basically. It has some other, like, sub-objectives, but they're typically pretty easy to get. You don't really have to think about them. Just finish without getting hit and you're all set. I'm not a big fan of the shop system in this game. Like, I appreciate that they were trying something different than, you know, your typical Metal Slug Contra game. You have a shop in between stages where you can go and buy a weapon that you can use later on with limited ammo. But, I don't know. For me, I don't think it works that well. I'd rather just have, like, one weapon drop in the stage that you kind of have to go out of your way to get. Maybe make it a little bit risky to grab. But that's just me. It's not a big deal either way. You can play the game without any weapon upgrades at all, so it's just like an extra thing that you can totally ignore. So yeah, if you like run and gun games, just run. Don't walk to your nearest digital store and buy this. Number 11. Absolum. Absolum. I don't know how to pronounce this title. It's kind of an awkward title, but it is the newest beat 'em up from the Streets of Rage 4 developers, and it's a bit different than Streets of Rage 4 and your typical arcade style beat 'em up. With this game, they blended a lot of roguelike elements into it, and they did something similar with the Streets of Rage 4 DLC, the survival mode, where every few battles you have different power-ups that you can choose from. And the power-ups are things like entirely new moves, like a blitz attack, or elemental attacks that get added onto your punches, and things like that. So while I typically like every roguelike game I've played so far, I don't necessarily need that stuff in arcade games. And like other roguelikes, by the end of the game, you can get enough power-ups where you're like crazy powerful, and you don't even need to think about playing this like a beat 'em up. Like, you can just spam blitz attacks and you'll just have tornadoes going all over the screen and bubbles that trap enemies and fire all over the floor for them to step on. It's fun, but it doesn't have that basic beat 'em up fundamental combat design in it. I mean, it does, but it loses it as you power up, is what I'm trying to say here. This game also has branching paths, and it has a lot of branching paths, which is one thing I like about it. You go to like entirely different regions. There's lots of different possible options in your playthrough. So if you're getting bored of doing the same thing over and over, just do something entirely different. And only like the intro area and the last stage is going to be the same. Everything in between, there's a lot of variation there that you can choose from, which is nice. I really appreciate that. But being a roguelike, it does have some randomness in the paths that you choose. Like, sometimes you can go on a boat and you can go into this room where you get an optional boss fight. And clearing that boss gives you a ton of gold that you can use to upgrade at the shopkeepers that are coming up. So it does have that luck element that'll make things easier or harder for you depending on how the dice rolls go. Like, I don't like that in roguelikes, but that's just part of the genre. And regardless, it's pretty well balanced overall. I think no matter what you get, if you're good at the game, then you can clear it pretty much every time. Like, even if you get the worst possible option in every single instance, you can still clear the game if you're good at it. So ultimately, it's not a big deal, I think. Although some powers are certainly better than others. Like, if you play the frog and you get his drill blitz attack, you can just spam that nonstop if you have the right ability attached to it. Like, you're just like untouchable and you'll do insane damage, and that's just a free win. Like, you don't even need to think. There's drill like it's Gurren Lagann. Well, that's just how roguelikes go. And, you know, while this game does have scoring in it, like, Streets of Rage 4 scoring is super good. It's like possibly the best scoring in a beat 'em up ever. This game has like similar ideas for how scoring works, but it's much easier and much simplified and much more forgiving and not nearly as good. So it feels like this game was made more for the average console gamer who wants to play beat 'em ups. And for the beat 'em up fans who like the arcade games and stuff, you still have Streets of Rage 4. So everyone's happy. This isn't exactly the Streets of Rage 4 follow-up that I wanted. Maybe Streets of Rage 5 will come out someday. I know they're making that 3D game that does not look particularly good. But even for people who want pure beat 'em ups, this is still an absolutely great game. I wouldn't hesitate for a second to recommend it to anyone. I had a lot of fun playing it. I'll play it again once they add more characters to it, maybe add more difficulty, modifiers, challenges, whatever. Because I've already beaten the game with every character without dying, so I have nothing left to do in it. That's interesting to me. And I do appreciate that this is something a bit different. It's a roguelike beat 'em up. And they executed the idea very well. So it's a great game. It's probably not going to end up being one of my favorite beat 'em ups of all time, like Streets of Rage 4 is, but that's a pretty high bar to hit, and it sits right below that, so I'm happy with it. Number 10. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Honestly, I have no idea where to put this game on this list, because on one hand, it's Ninja Gaiden 2, and it's better than pretty much every game in existence. But this is basically just a port of Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 with modern Unreal Engine graphics laid on top of it. And the graphics look fantastic. I think they did a generally excellent job of just sticking to the correct art style. They didn't add their own tasteless interpretations into it, like, say, the Demon Souls remake. They stuck with it. They nailed it. They did an excellent job with that. No complaints from me. But Sigma 2 is not as good as the original. And this isn't exactly Sigma 2. They did update it and added some more enemies into the encounters, made it a little bit harder. So it's a bit better than Sigma 2. But it is ultimately just a port of an old game that I've already played, and I don't want to put it too high up on this list. So I think just being on the bottom of the top 10 is a good spot for it. Ninja Gaiden 2 is just one of the best games that'll ever exist. And frankly, no matter which version of it you play, if you like action games, you should just play it. But at the end of the day, you should eventually circle back to the original Ninja Gaiden 2, because that's the best. It's always going to be the best. And there's only one game in existence that's better than it. Number 9. Batman Returns. So this is a beat 'em up that Konami made for the Super Nintendo based on Tim Burton's movie of the same name. It roughly follows the events of the movies, but basically they're just trying to make a good beat 'em up out of it. So, they do their own thing here and there. And they did a fantastic job. I think this is one of the absolute best console beat 'em ups and one of the best beat 'em ups on the Super Nintendo ever. Actually, not just one of the best beat 'em ups on the Super Nintendo, just one of the best games, period, on the Super Nintendo. It's a fantastic game, top to bottom. The graphics are excellent, soundtrack's great, the game plays perfectly. There's no issues to really complain about. So I played it on Mania mode, the highest difficulty, and I did the no death clear on it. And that makes the game a lot more interesting because the bosses are really, really tricky. I wonder if Konami even knew that there were consistent strategies to beat the bosses, because so typically in these console beat 'em ups they just give you tons of lives and you can just burn through them and you still can get the 1cc, and that's why they're typically not as good as arcade games. They don't have that thought put into the balance, and Konami in particular did not make the most balanced, well-designed arcade beat 'em ups, to say the least. So maybe this game was even better than they realized or intended it to be. Who knows? But all of the bosses, they are very tricky, but they have consistent patterns. Once you actually spend enough time to learn them, you can beat them without dying every time. And on Mania mode, the thing with the bosses in particular is that they can kill you in maybe 2-3 hits. So if you don't know the strategy, then they're just going to kill you, multiple times probably. So thoroughly learning this game and figuring out all the strategies to do everything without dying is just some of the most fun I had this year. And this isn't a game that I'm playing for the very first time. You know, I had this game when I was a kid. I played through it all the time. I liked it back then too, but you know, arcade style games like this, you don't appreciate how good they are until you actually learn how to play them. So that's what I did this year, and I had an absolutely great time playing this. For my money, this is probably the best Batman game that's ever been made. Number 8. Elden Ring Night Rain. This is another game that, until the minute it came out, I had absolutely no idea what to expect out of it. It always looked so weird in the previews because I always just thought it was like, this is some multiplayer only DLC expansion pack type thing. Like, I have no idea what they're doing with this, but I just bought it on a whim, and I am absolutely glad I did, because like, this is basically an Elden Ring arcade game. You pick your character, you start at level 1, you level up really rapidly, you're on a strict time limit, you have to run through the game as fast as you can, eliminate all the enemies you can. The map is randomized a bit, but like, you know what to expect out of every little area. So you know what to prioritize, you know how to like strategize your path through the world as the Fortnite circle closes in on you. And your goal is to just level up as much as you can in the 3 in-game days that each run takes. And each day takes about, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. And you fight a boss at the end of each day until the 3rd day, which is the Night Lord that you chose to start your run with. And obviously the Night Lords are the main bosses of the game. I think there's 8 of them total, and you know, they're the more complex, difficult, involved bosses that you fight at the end of each run. That's what you're leveling up and building up your equipment for. And then you kill the Night Lord and you're sent back to the main world and pick another one to do. Like, this is such a unique idea to do with a Souls type game, and I never would have expected them to do anything like this. Because for Elden Ring, I only played it one time, and I have over 100 hours on that game on Steam. Now, that probably includes like a bunch of idle time or whatever, but regardless, that's an insanely long game. Like, I do not have 500 hours to play that game over and over and over. But for Night Rain, you have your 40-minute long game. You just play through it over and over like an arcade game. It works perfectly. There's no time wasted. You're always on the move. You're always going as fast as you can. It's like they're not trying to waste a minute of your time with this game, and I loved it for that. And I've only played mostly with one class in this game, the Iron Eye. There are other classes that play totally different. You have your like melee warrior, mages with that only fight with magic. You have like a necromancer that summons skeletons from the ground and stuff. And I've played both multiplayer, and I did the whole game solo, and I had fun either way. So I love this game. Night Rain made me go from like not caring at all about that new Souls game that they're making for the Switch 2 to actually really looking forward to it if it's going to be anything like this. Like, maybe Night Rain is just like the prototype for what that game is supposed to be. And if it is, and that game's just bigger, better, like more complex, then hell yes, give me that. But I do hope they avoid like blowing it up too much, because Night Rain is great for what it is. Just that cut down, linear, arcade style Souls game. Number 7. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. So when this game was first announced, I wasn't really sure what to expect out of it, because it was coming from the developers of the Blasphemous games. And the Blasphemous games are like Metroidvanias, Souls-like, slow-paced, RPG. They're probably well made for what they are, but that is like the polar opposite of what I want out of a Ninja Gaiden game. And the developers understood the assignment, because they made Ragebound exactly what Ninja Gaiden should be. Linear, fast-paced, challenging, no-nonsense action game. And Ragebound, a lot like Shinobi Art of Vengeance, has a more modernized game structure. It's not a 30-40 minute long arcade style game with like 6 stages in it, which is my ideal. But if you have to modernize a game by adding lots of content to it, then I vastly prefer what Ragebound did over Shinobi. So Ragebound has this overworld map like a Mario game, and has maybe 25 to 30 stages in it altogether. And you don't really have to worry about the overall balance of the game, because you're not playing through all of those stages back to back all at once. You're just playing one stage at a time. So every stage can be as hard as they want it to be, and every stage can be a challenge. And that's basically how they made this game. None of the stages are particularly long, and they all have like a pretty strict time limit that you want to hit in order to get an S rank or the highest grades or whatever. Because for people who want difficulty from these games, that's where you're going to find it. Just playing through the game normally, you have checkpoints all over the place. You can just finish it, dying repeatedly, not getting any of the objectives, get a bad grade, it doesn't matter. If you want challenge, you go for those S rank, S+, S++ ranks, and you're going to get a satisfying level of challenge out of this. Although you do need to play on hard mode to get that level of challenge. Hard mode adds more enemies in the stages, more traps in the environments, and more difficult bosses with like more complex patterns. Normal mode is just the warm-up to get familiar with everything, and hard mode is the real deal. So I ended up absolutely loving this game. Like, it's fantastic in every way. The graphics are great, music's great, the structure of the game is like not what I expected out of it, but it works perfectly. There's no open world, side mission, leveling up stuff to ruin the game with. It's just, here's 30 action game stages, play them, master them, get the S ranks, have fun. Number 6. R-Type Delta HD Boosted. I've never properly played an R-Type game before. Like, I've played them, obviously, a little bit here and there, but I've never actually taken the time to learn one. 1cc the game, beat it without dying, and it's not uncommon to see people saying that R-Type Delta is the best game in the R-Type series, so it's like, alright, I'm interested in this game, I'll try it out, see if I like it, and I did. I liked it immediately, and I figured I'd take the time to learn how to clear it. So what sets R-Type apart from other shooters is the option, or the force field, or whatever you call it, that attaches to the front or back of your ship. Like, it's invincible, it absorbs all the bullets that come at you. It's your shield, and to clear the game, you gotta learn how to use that. So this isn't really a game that's about dodging bullets. It's about memorizing the stages and where you need to set up your shield to protect you. You need it in the front of your ship, you need it in the back, you need to shoot it out and let it sit there for a minute. So once you get good at the game and you've got all your strategies figured out and you can clear the stages without dying, that's what makes shooting games fun. And that's what I enjoyed doing in R-Type Delta. So this game has 3 difficulty modes, and at first I learned it on normal difficulty. And once I had fully learned the entire game and like I was capable of completing it without dying, I figured, alright, I'll just put it on hard mode and start playing some credits. I did not expect hard mode to be actually quite a bit harder than normal, because I figured, maybe the only difference is just going to be faster bullets or something. Maybe the bosses have a little bit more HP. There's a little bit more to it than that. On normal mode, there's a lot of enemies that like won't shoot you at all. They'll just fly right by. But on hard mode, they shoot you. And the bullets move pretty fast in this game. So I had to go back and relearn a few of the stages and really tighten up my strategies, which is fun to do, but also kind of annoying because like I just wasted all that time playing on normal mode. But it is what it is. I think one of the biggest differences between normal and hard mode is that on hard mode, depending on where you die, it can be much harder to resurrect and rebuild all your power-ups. Like, there are some stages toward the end of the game where you really want to be at full power to deal with everything that's going to be coming at you. Because if you're weak, it's going to be a lot harder. And on normal mode, that's not really an issue. Like, it's much easier to get through anything. So to me, that didn't really matter because I wanted to beat the game without dying regardless. But if you're just going for a 1cc, that can be a frustrating roadblock, I suppose. So one thing about this game that you'll see people complaining about is that this HD version, it runs at 60 FPS all the time. There's no slowdown in it. And to me, for this game in particular, that does not matter. For most shooting games, you want a new port to have accurate slowdown because the game is designed with that in mind. And this game was designed with the slowdown in mind too, don't get me wrong. Because the music is synced up to the slowdown in the PS1 original, and in this game the music just goes out of sync. But for this game, the scoring is who cares? You just shoot enemies and get points. You can milk score in certain points. I don't care at all, honestly. I love playing shooting games for score, but this one just doesn't matter to me at all. And many old shooting games don't, because they're all just that's similar, just shoot enemies, get points, and figure out some busted way to milk it and make it boring. But as games to just play and clear without dying if you really like them, they're satisfying in that way, and that's why I like this game. So that's all I needed from it. And for R-Type, you don't really need slowdown to dodge, because this is not a game about dodging bullets. This is a game about positioning your force field to block bullets. So like if you don't have a strategy for it, you're gonna die regardless. So it's all about building strategies rather than carefully maneuvering in between bullets like newer, more modern shooting games are. So I'm perfectly fine with no slowdown at all in this game, which is a criticism for it, and trust me, I fully understand that criticism. And I think that the developers are going to be patching slowdown into it perhaps. So I think it would be nice if they add like an option like the PS2 Gradius games. Like they have wait on, wait off. And putting wait on adds a slowdown. And if you don't want the slowdown, you don't need the slowdown, keep it off. That way, everyone's happy. But other than that, it's just a fantastic shooting game. It got me into the R-Type series. I'm interested in playing the rest of them now. Number 5, It Takes Two. Now this might be a surprising game on this list because it's just unlike anything else. It's sandwiched in between like all these shooting games, beat 'em ups, arcade style games, and there's this co-op casual game. But for me, this is some of the most fun I had playing games this year. And I played this game with my girlfriend, and she likes games too, but we don't exactly play the same types of games. And It Takes Two stood out above everything else because, you know, it's this kind of a story-driven game, and you have to work together with your partner, and you have different abilities, and you have to combine your abilities to advance through the stages. And they have lots of different gameplay styles in the game, so it's like you complete one section and the next section just plays completely differently, and you have to learn your new power and see what your partner's new power does, and you have to figure out how to work together to keep advancing. And just that repeats over and over. There's just always new ideas. You have boss fights that you have to work together to clear. You clear the boss, there's more story, you go on to the next segment, etc., etc. So for couples, I think this is like the absolute best game that you can play together. Like number one, there's nothing, I've never played anything better than this. Because even if there's like a skill gap between you and your partner, it doesn't really matter. Like you can advance through your segment and then your partner can die and it's not going to screw you up. Like there are segments where you have to work together and time things together, but those are fun and they're not hard. It's not hard enough to like make it impossible for them to advance. Like they'll just take a few tries to do it. Like it's no big deal at all. It doesn't hold you back. And this is just a wonderful game that I thoroughly enjoy.
Va a venir Martín,
if anybody knows similar games to this, then please recommend them. Let me know. Because I've been looking through games as much as I can. Every time we think about playing games together, I'm researching new co-op games that is suitable for both of us. And the It Takes Two likes, that formula is just like the best of the best, I think. I know that they have Split Fiction. We just started playing that. That also is seeming like a very good game. But yeah, anything else, let me know. I know that they just announced that anime type game at the last game show. So that'll be another good one that we can play together. And hopefully more It Takes Two likes keep coming out, because I keep saying it over and over, but I enjoyed the hell out of this game. Number 4, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. So it actually took me a while to finish this video because I actually didn't finish this game up until yesterday. So I started playing this earlier in 2025, but I stopped because a bunch of other games are coming out and I wanted to play them, make YouTube videos and stuff like that. But after finishing R-Type, I went back to this. I wanted to finish this off because I really enjoyed this game. And I think I finally realized that the Dragon Quest style of RPG is pretty close to what my ideal RPG should be. Like, I absolutely love Dragon Quest XI. That's still one of my favorite RPGs of all time. And I did not like 3 as much as 11, but it's pretty close. So now I'm starting to realize that the Dragon Quest style of, you know, you start out as like a nobody in your little village and you go on this grand adventure that has like a simple little story. Like there's this ultimate evil that's screwing everything up and you have to kill him at the end of the game. And on your way to doing that, you stop in all these towns, and they all have their own little problems for you to take care of. You do that, you move on to the next town, you fix their problem, move on to the next town, fix their problem. If you get a boat, the world opens up a bit more. You go to another continent, you go to the town over there, fix their problems. Maybe the main story is advancing a little bit here and there. You keep going to the next town, fixing their problems. Eventually you get an airship. The world opens up more again. Like, you're getting more and more powerful. You're learning new skills. The game's not stopping you every 5 minutes to like smash story down your throat. Dragon Quest in particular seems to have like a really high gameplay to story ratio, which is something I really appreciate. Sometimes I just want to play the game and go through the dungeon, kill some monsters, kill a boss, go back to town, and solve whatever little problem they have. And that's all I need out of an RPG. So the only things that I didn't like about this game is that the battle system is alright. It's a little too simple, but I do like that it has different classes or jobs or whatever that you can switch between. And maybe I'm just more used to newer RPGs, but the ending of it felt like really anticlimactic. Like, a lot of newer games that I played in this, they just build and build and build the ending, and maybe the boss has like multiple phases and stuff, and then the ending comes and it just goes on for like half an hour or whatever. This game is just, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's not like that, is all I'll say. But other than that, I loved everything about this game. And it made me realize that Dragon Quest formula is like my safe choice for a great RPG. So I'm looking forward to playing Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD. They have that 7 remake coming out. I'm looking forward to that. And eventually, someday, hopefully, Dragon Quest 12 will come out. I'll be all over that. And I really hope that they'd remake or remaster Dragon Quest 8 for modern systems, because I would be all over that. That's the most interesting looking one to me. I feel like I should have realized sooner that I would really like Dragon Quest, because I loved Blue Dragon on the 360, and it feels like Miss Walker went out to make a Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy type of game for Microsoft, and Blue Dragon was their Dragon Quest and Lost Odyssey was the Final Fantasy. And I like Lost Odyssey more than any Final Fantasy, and Blue Dragon I don't like as much as Dragon Quest 11. Maybe I like it more than Dragon Quest 3 though. That's a great game. And this is a great game too, though. And now I'm looking forward to playing every other Dragon Quest. Number 3. Ninja Gaiden. This is another game that I played when I was a kid, but after I grew up, I never really went back to it. So, with 2025 being the year of the ninja, Ninja Gaiden 4 announced, Ragebound, Shinobi, I thought, alright, this is the right time to play the original again. And I think this is possibly the best game on the NES. It's absolutely fantastic, even in 2025. It hasn't aged a single day since it came out. This is just one of those infinitely replayable arcade-style action games with, challenging level of difficulty, perfect controls, nice-looking graphics, great music, and that's just all you need from a game sometimes. And if you execute those things well enough, you can make a game like this that's been fun for 40 years, and I'm sure 40 years from now, it's still going to be just as fun today as it was when it came out. Because it's just an excellent game. Number 2. Night Striker Gear. This game kind of came out of nowhere for me. I was familiar with the original Night Striker, but I've never played it. And I knew M2 had been working on Night Striker Gear, but I wasn't aware that the director of this game was Hiroshi Iuchi, who's best known for Ikaruga and Radiant Silvergun, Gradius 5, and this is his first brand new game in a really long time. So actually, once I learned that Iuchi was responsible for this game, it piqued my interest. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of his previous games, there's no denying that they're quality games. They're just not to my taste, generally. So I downloaded this right away. And as soon as I loaded up, I was instantly hooked. Everything about this game is extremely well executed. They nailed that futuristic art style. The pixel art is really well done. It has a nice soundtrack that suits the game perfectly, even though I'm not going to be listening to any of these tracks on their own. It works really well with the game. And most importantly, it has a great scoring system. And make no mistake, scoring is the lifeblood of arcade games. It can take games that would get boring after a few days that it takes to clear them without dying and turn them into a game that'll be fun for your entire life if the scoring system is good and has lots of depth for you to dig into. And this game has really good scoring. And not only is it good, it's very simple. Like, it's very easy to understand. All you really need to know is that every formation has one red colored enemy in it, and if you shoot that enemy and only that enemy, then you'll get a 100,000 point bonus. And which enemy is red is not always the same. It's randomized a bit. So you can't just memorize exactly where you need to be, like every frame in the game. You have to adapt to what's happening on the screen. Sometimes you'll need to just delay your shots until the red enemy becomes visible, which is a bit risky because they don't give you a lot of time to sit around and do nothing. Lots of enemy formations are always coming in, so you might end up getting shot, taking damage, and losing points that way. So I can imagine like a fully, perfectly optimized run in this game where you clear the game without dying, you hit every single red enemy in every formation. Like, that's insanely difficult, I would think. Like, that'll keep you busy for hundreds of hours if that's what you're going for. If you're just going to play it somewhat casually like I did, just trying to hit as many red enemies as you can, but, you know, some of them escape, some of them you miss, whatever. You'll always have something to try to improve that on your next run. That's the idea. You just play this game over and over and over. You're trying to get better and better and better, get a higher score. To me, that's what makes video games fun. Just that skill ceiling where you just keep challenging yourself to get better. Like, that's like the soul of video games to me. And Night Striker executes that perfectly. So this game does have a branching path system like Darius, and in the normal game that's actually a problem because certain stages are just going to be worth more than other stages, and if that's all there was to it, then you would just end up taking the highest scoring route through the game and ignore all the other stages that they made, and that would just like be a total waste of development time. But I assume that they thought about that, and they remedied that with a B-side mode where you just end up playing every stage in the game back to back. So all those low value stages that you would normally skip in the main mode, there actually is a reason to learn how to play them and get better at it and learn the entire game. So B-side mode is just like the expert mode that gives value to all of the content that they made, which is great. The only problem with this game for me is that it does not have any type of training mode at all, which is just baffling because M2 does training modes better than any other developer in this retro arcade game space. Like, it's not even close. They blow everybody else out of the water. So obviously they understand the importance of training modes, and they just decided we're going to release this game and not include one at all. They probably have a reason for it. I don't know it. I don't really care because releasing a game like this without a mode that lets you practice each stage at least individually is just ridiculous in 2025. But other than that, this game is just absolutely fantastic. Like an easy minimum 9 out of 10, possibly a 10 out of 10. If they put in a real training mode, I'd have no problem saying this is a 10 out of 10. Number 1, Ninja Gaiden 4. Of course this was going to be on the list. Is it a surprise that it's number 1? If you read what I wrote in my previous Ninja Gaiden 4 video, then it probably shouldn't be a surprise. But I know that this game is a little bit divisive because this is Platinum's Ninja Gaiden 4. And being a Platinum game, it has its own differences compared to your standard Ninja Gaiden. But every single Ninja Gaiden is completely different from every other Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden 2 does not play like Ninja Gaiden Black. Ninja Gaiden 3 does not play like Ninja Gaiden 2. And Ninja Gaiden 4 is no different. It does not play like the previous Ninja Gaidens, and it shouldn't play like the previous Ninja Gaidens. I'm not somebody who always wants more of the same. Like, give me new ideas, and Ninja Gaiden has always done that, and 4 is no exception. And Platinum did an absolutely incredible job with this game. Not only because they're not the primary Ninja Gaiden developer, but because I think a lot of people wrote Platinum off after Kamiya left, and I'm sure he took a lot of people with him to go back to Capcom. Like, a lot of people were just like, well, Platinum's dead, they're done for. Like, they've been struggling over the last few years making games in genres that they shouldn't be making games in, but they have to because some people get in their ear and tell them that you have to make things that aren't action games because that's how you make money. Ninja Gaiden 4 is Platinum doing what Platinum does best, which is making linear action games. There's no stupid open world ideas in it, no RPG adventure bullshit in it, just action. start to finish, and you have some like Sonic the Hedgehog rail grinding sections in it because somebody said, hey, we need something to break up all this action. So here's Sonic the Hedgehog, whatever. And in fact, I would say Ninja Gaiden 4 is undoubtedly the best game that Platinum's ever made. It's better than every Bayonetta. It's better than the wonderful 101, which is the only game that would make me stop and think about that a bit, but I'll take Ninja Gaiden over that. And Vanquish is a great game, but it's a third-person shooter. It's not comparable to action games, and these character action games, or whatever you want to call them, I think are just inherently better than most other genres. So Ninja Gaiden 4 is a hell of a comeback for not only the series, but for Platinum as well, because they prove that they can still make absolutely top-tier games. So with this being a revival of a long dormant series, and also a Platinum game, I'm sure everybody thought like the best move was to make an entirely new character for it. And so we got Yakumo. And Yakumo, he plays more like a modern Platinum character action game character. Like he can instantly switch between his weapons during combos. He has more of an air combo focus than previous Ninja Gaiden games. And of course, eventually you get to play Ryu Hayabusa in this game, who has like the more standard Ninja Gaiden moveset and toolkit. But he also has the new Ninja Gaiden 4 abilities that modifies his moveset and like all these super powerful new moves that you really need for this game. The game's designed around it, it's built around it, and it works perfectly for it. So a lot of people complain that you're always playing as Yakumo, you don't get to play as Ryu enough, and I totally get that. Ryu is the face of Ninja Gaiden. There's a new Ninja Gaiden coming out, you want to play as Ryu. I totally understand. But Yakumo is the main character of this game. And to me, that's not a problem at all. Like, I'm glad Ryu is in it. Like, he needs to be in it. Just like Devil May Cry 4, Dante needs to be in it. And Nero is really the main character of that game. But Ninja Gaiden 4 is going to have DLC coming out. And I'm hoping that the DLC is more Ryu-focused. Like, that would be the perfect balance, I think. They have their new game. Yakumo is built around his abilities first and foremost. They put Ryu in it. They made it work for him, and now they're going to make a DLC where they're going to expand on Ryu. Like, that makes total sense to me. It's perfectly fine, not a problem at all. I'm hoping that's how it is, and the DLC isn't just like more Yakumo, because then we're going to have a problem. But aside from everything I just said, the only thing that really matters is that this is a no-nonsense, fast-paced, challenging action game. They hardly ever get made nowadays. They're not in vogue at all. They've been like replaced by Souls games. So I'm very grateful that Ninja Gaiden 4 exists. It's as good as it is. I love it. I'm looking forward to playing it more, and it's number one on my list because out of all of these games, I like all of these games, of course. This is the one game I can see myself just going back to for years and years and years and years. Just like I go back to Ninja Gaiden 3 every once in a while, Ninja Gaiden 2, Ninja Gaiden Black, Devil May Cry. Like, a great character action game just is great forever. And there aren't that many of them, so if you want to play one, most of the time your only option is an old game. So now that I've finished Dragon Quest, things have died down with new game releases. I think it's finally time for me to get back to Ninja Gaiden 4 myself. And it's an absolutely excellent game and an action masterpiece, which is why it is the best game of 2025. And that was my best of 2025 list. So let me know what you thought. I only have basic editing skills, so I know this video was kind of ghetto, and it was also a lot more work than I expected, so I'm not sure when I'll do it again, but hey, let me know if you thought it was a decent video, entertaining enough to listen to or whatever. If you liked it, thumbs up, subscribe, all that stuff. If you didn't like it, thumbs down, tell me in the comments why Hollow Knight's the best game ever, and thanks for watching.
pasa, bebé? ¿Qué?
No conozco este bicho. Un ratito hasta que venga el niño. Va a venir un nene. Va a venir un nene acá. ¿Sí? Va a venir un nene. El papá. Así que pórtense bien ustedes. ¿Sí? ¿Van a portarse bien? ¿Sí? Bueno, está bien. ¿No? ¿No te vas a portar bien? ¿No? Y bueno, usted es dueño, caballero.
Te doy. Ovejito bebé. Ovejito bebé. Ovejito, ovejito.
Hay una nena por ahí, bueno.
Hola, hermoso. Una besita, ¿verdad? Una besita. Oh, viste que tienes que estar. Viste que tienes que estar. Está muy grande, bebé. ansiedad, mi bebé. A ver. por ser un artista.